Let's move on to our next question. It's a language question from a past paper, so let's just have a look at it. Let's go to the questions. Correct the single error. So you know in FAL, this will always be your first question. You have to look for one mistake. So look at the first one. Tell me what you think. Nothing? Okay, you've got well known. Put a hyphen in there. So write well known. Don't make a big space, but put in a hyphen. Look at the next one. What's the mistake? The first were donated. If you said the first child, would you say the first child were? No, you'd say the first child was. This affects your thinking. So you see the libraries, and because your brain sees the libraries last, it goes to were. But it's the first was. Look at the next one. Anything? Look at your spelling. So you've got a spelling mistake there. How do you spell increased? With an S. Right. Next one. What are the errors? Or the error? This is a preposition. All 50 libraries have been donated to schools. Right, so some languages use prepositions, some languages don't. For people who don't use prepositions, prepositions can be quite tricky. Right, antonym. Remember, in this language question, they're asking as many different things as they can, as fast as they can. What does commence mean? If you don't know, you might want to go back to the passage. During 2012, da-di-da-di-da, this project commenced in January. The first of them was donated. What does it sound as if commenced means? It sounds as if it means begun. So we need an antonym for begun. What about ended? The project ended. I think that's nice and simple. Now we come to passive voice. To change a sentence from the active to the passive voice, you need to be able to find the subject, the finite verb, and the object. When you go to the passive, the subject is going to become the new agent and go after the word by. The finite verb will change its voice from active to passive, and the object will become the new subject. Remember what makes the difference between an active and a passive voice? In the active voice, the subject does the verb or is the verb. In the passive voice, something is done to the subject. Right. Let's work on this sentence. What is the finite verb? Pledged. I'm not hearing anybody. To find the subject of a finite verb, ask who or what before the verb. So who or what pledged? And we get the company, subject. And that's very pale. The company pledged who or what? The container libraries, object. So make the object the new subject. The container libraries. Stick to the same tense. You are not asked to change the tense, you're changing the voice. The container libraries were pledged, then add in by and make the subject the new agent after by. The container libraries were pledged by the company. Now you've got to decide where you're going to put the rest of the sentence. And you can put it in anywhere you like that makes sense. The container libraries were pledged to the Department of Basic Education by the company. Sounds quite nice to me. It doesn't matter. Right, negative. We're going to make the verb negative. Each library does not contain. So watch it. This S drops off because now it's the present is in the does, not in the contains. If you put an S there, it's wrong. Right, future tense. Where's the finite verb? Where's my purple that I was using for the finite verb? Finite verb, container libraries are equipped. That's the finite verb. We've got to go to the future tense. Container libraries, future, will be equipped. Remember here, you're changing the tense, not the voice. So don't change the voice of the verb, just change the tense. Now, I've got a huge problem with 5.1.6. Okay, what do you understand an acronym to be? For me, an acronym is when you say the abbreviation as a new word. What is the abbreviation for this? Well, I would say, but do you pronounce that CO? I don't. I say the CEO. So for me, it's not an acronym, it's an abbreviation. So I've got a problem with the question. Right, what do? Please, guys, this is not the time to say, dear marker, I have a problem with this question. I wonder if the examiner didn't mean to say, don't do that. Just write down CEO because it's got to be the right answer. I mean, there isn't any other answer, is there? So just write down CEO. Right, reported speech. You often get asked reported speech. What is the first thing you do? You get rid of the inverted commas. That's the first thing. Rademan said, I like the word that. For me, it introduces my reported speech. The container library project, there's my first change. Will becomes would. Have a long-lasting positive impact on the lives of thousands of young learners. I can't see anything else to change. There are 3 marks. I'm assuming 1 mark for getting rid of the inverted commas, 1 mark for the would, and I can't see anything else. So I presume that I have done the right thing. Okay, maybe it's 1 mark for the that. Now the next one says combine it into a single sentence. It doesn't tell us whether the sentence has to be a simple sentence or a compound sentence or a complex sentence. So you need to know what those sentences are, and now we're going to choose simple, compound, or complex. We're going to look at the sentences and say, what is the best way of joining the sentences together? What we've got is the brand new books in each sentence. So each library has brand new books which learners enjoy reading. So we can use the which there, make it a non-defining clause, and we can make it a complex sentence. There are other ways of doing it. What worries me slightly is they haven't said to you, don't use and. And I think and wouldn't really work here. If you used it, I suppose you'd have to go, learners enjoy reading brand new books and each library has such books. So I think you'd have to start with this one. Remember, and joins similar ideas. But I think here, although they haven't told you what kind of sentence, go with the complex sentence. Go with using which. I think it just makes it so much better. Okay. And then if we go on, oh, no, this seems to be a different one. This is the Library Foundation. Okay, so this one is a different one. It's about emojis landing you in hot water. So let's have a look at what they ask here. Same thing at the beginning. You've got the for where it could be absolutely anything. You're not told. So just read it slowly and carefully. What do you see as wrong? Here's your problem. So English uses an, just to make it smoother, an instant, not a instant, which sounds sounds too jerky. Next one. Now, you'd have to go back here to the passage. Just let's read up to here. Whoever thought to sending smiley face sometimes could land you in legal trouble, instant emoji, instant message or email could potentially lead to unwanted kind of held liable to damages, warning with whatever a legal advisor. So this legal advisor is warning us. So I wanted to check, is it a warning to Johannes du Plessis or is it a warning from Johannes du Plessis? And it has to be from. He is a legal advisor warning us. So it's another preposition. Next one. Once again, it's spelling. R-E-C-E-I. And the problem here? Correct. Many people use. So this is Conchord, and the same way that we had Conchord last time. Remember, Conchord, there are two kinds of Conchord. One is the pronoun Conchord, and one is the subject-verb Conchord. Well, those are the Conchords you're usually asked. So here, plural subject, plural verb. The one we had earlier was singular subject, singular verb. Right, negative form. How are we doing on the negative form? Many individuals negotiate. Do not negotiate. Rewrite it in reported speech. So what is the first thing we do? We get rid of the inverted commas. Right. I would then start with him. Johannes du Plessis said, and I want the word that. I like that. Many individuals negotiate, right. Many individuals negotiated, change the verb, lease agreements with landlords or agents to make purchase and sale agreements with sellers they found in newspaper or website classifieds. 4 marks. Oh my gosh, I wonder where my 4 marks are coming from. What have I got? I've changed my verb. Now remember, you change your verb. In the direct speech, if the introductory verb is in the past, then everything goes back 1 into the past. So if it's in the present tense, it goes to the past tense. If it's the past tense, it goes to the past perfect tense. So have I changed my verb? Yes. Many individuals negotiate. That is present. Many individuals negotiated. Lease agreements with landlords or agents or make. There's the one that I missed. Or make or made. There's the second verb. Made purchase and sale agreements with sellers. Da-de-da, they found in. Right. So you say to yourself, my 4 marks, 2 marks, 1 for each verb, 1 mark for getting rid of the inverted commas, and we're assuming the 4th mark is for the that. So notice what I did is I looked at the mark allocation, thought, hang on, something must be missing here, haven't got this right, okay? Right, is there anything else I've missed? Read it again. Is there another verb that I've missed? Let's read it again. There's another verb, there. What did I say over here? If it's in the past, it goes to the past perfect. Negotiate and make are in the present. We've made them both past. Found is in the past. What do I have to add to make found past perfect? Had found. Right. So now, looking at that, 4 marks, 1 verb, 2 verbs, 3 verbs, take out the inverted commas. The that is probably optional. All right. So please, it's really important you look at that mark allocation. The mark allocation is there to guide you. So you look at it and you think, hang on, I must have missed something. There must be something here. Go back and look again. And the most important thing when you're doing your direct and reported speech is you're looking for anything to do with time and space. And since there was nothing here to do with time and space, you go back to the verbs and say, what did I miss with the verbs? Lovely. Rewrite in the passive voice. Finite verb. There's our finite verb. To find the subject of a finite verb, ask who or what before the verb. Who or what warned the man? The legal advisor. That's my subject. The legal advisor warned who or what? The man. That's the object. So you take your object and you make it your new subject, the man. You take your finite verb and you make it passive, was warned. You take the subject, you put in by, and you make the subject the new agent, by the legal advisor. And you put the rest of the sentence in wherever it sounds good to you. So the man was warned not to use certain emojis in responding to messages by the legal advisor. Or the man was warned by the legal advisor not to use. It doesn't matter. I want to see that you've made the sentence passive. Don't change the tense. So I was saying to Mbali that I got a question by email saying, can I say was being warned? No, because you've changed the tense. Warned is simple past. Was being warned is past continuous. So the legal advisor was warning, da-di-da-di-da, becomes was being warned. So if you have an ing, you're going to have an ing. It's going to move from where it is somewhere else, but the ing stays. If there is no ing, there mustn't be an ing in your answer. Right. Now we've got to write 5.1.4. And I said back here that there are 2 concords that you get asked. The pronoun concord can be if I say a child and then goes their mother, their book, them, they. So I've got the wrong pronouns coming after a child, which is singular, and I follow it with all these plurals. Or another one is this one, which you've been asked here. It's another pronoun problem. Can you see it? English doesn't like you to shift pronouns in the middle of a sentence. So if you then breach the contract, you may become liable. If one then breaches the contract, one may become liable. So do it whichever way is simpler for you. I would go, if you then breach the contract, then I don't have to change the verb. Right, now we come to font. Why is it in italics? Well, what do we guess? When do we use italics? The most obvious is for a title. So we go back, let's go and have a look at what Electronic Communications and Transactions Act. Let's just go and see. Section 22 of the Electronic Communications and Transaction Act states that. So it's the title of the act. It is the name of the act. Right. Is that an acronym or an abbreviation? And we're going, I don't know. How do you pronounce it? Does anybody want to give me a kind of help here? Do we say ECTA or do we go ECTA? I don't know. So what do you do in the exam? You don't leave it blank. You go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and you just choose one because you're given a choice. You've got a 50% chance of getting it right. And we had quite a debate earlier this year in our school with this one. What do you do with this one? Because the WHO call themselves the WHO. It's an abbreviation. But I'm hearing a lot of people saying the WHO, in which case it's an acronym. So what do we do? Okay, so I was saying, oh, it doesn't matter. And one of my colleagues said, it matters, Janet, it really matters. Went back to my class and said, it really matters. We're going to go the WHO. And everybody I gave the mark to, I'm taking the mark off. All right, they were particularly irritated, but my colleague said it matters. They call themselves the WHO. Well, what do we know about these people? Do they call themselves the ECTA? I don't know. Right, good. Write this question as a tag. English has a tagging system where we influence the way that people think. So contracts are valid in law. Are valid, present tense. So you keep the are, you make it negative. You say, is that singular or plural? And you go, contracts concluded wholly or partly by a data message are valid in law, comma, aren't they? So if you're given a verb like the are, you can use the aren't. It's not a problem. It's when you aren't given one. If you say contracts make a difference, let's say that, then you have to say, don't they? And that's trickier because now you're not given this tag. So if you're given anything like must, will, can, would, you can use that as the tag. And remember, if the main part of the sentence is positive, the tag is negative. If the main part of the sentence is negative, the tag is positive. Okay, right. And then I'm not sure where we go next, but it looks as if we're going to go to, oh no, this is still part of language. Hang on. More tag questions. Oh, okay. Let's have a look at these tag questions. Write down the missing words. We've just done one. Best friends take care of each other, don't they? And that's all you have to write down. Part of speech. This should be easy peasy. Dogs. Right, so do they just want noun or do they want common noun? Their owners, do they just want adjective or do they want possessive adjective? Looking at those two marks, I would suggest just noun and adjective because they can't give you half marks. Right, write down the singular form. Community. You need to know that community, the Y goes to an IE and then you add the S. Now we come to degrees of comparison. Tandi's dog barks than Tebogo's pup. How many dogs do we have? 2. So we've got the idea of loud in the comparative degree. Comparative it will be louder, and in the superlative, it will be loudest. How many dogs have we got? 2. Which degree do we want? Comparative. There are only 2. Louder. And then we've got to use bark as a homonym. Right, okay. So what is a homonym? It's a word which has the same form but a different meaning and change the part of speech. So, my neighbor's dogs bark. Bark is a verb. It tells me what they do. Waf, 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 waf. Okay, fine. What else do you know is bark? Can't hear you, shout louder. What else is called bark? Right, so we've got the bark of a tree. So you could say something like, the bark of that tree is very attractive and I like the look of it, or something. Try to show that you understand the bark of the tree. In other words, don't say, I like that bark, because I don't know what this is. Maybe this is, I don't know, cup of tea. So I like that bark. Please could you paint that tree for me so I could see the bark? Make sure that you are showing that you understand the word. All right,